Hello everyone, welcome to Protect and Persevere. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. Normally I keep my content based around guns, gear, equipment, and shooting, but I kind of want to step into the realm of survival and outdoor stuff. I'm by no means an expert in this. There's probably a lot of other great videos on this, but I don't know, I'm kind of getting interested in this stuff. I'm just starting, so I thought I'd kind of talk about it, and it's also something that makes me more well-rounded. I think it's something that other prepared citizens should kind of get familiar with and get experience and skills in, from basic, just camping with your friends and family, all the way up to, the extreme escape and evasion survival stuff. I thought a good way to start this would be the 10 C's of the survivability. Now, the 10 C's were created by Dave Canterbury, this extreme survivalist dude, expert guy, and he basically kind of looked at what are some tools and things that people from the beginning of time, from all groups of people, what are things that they needed to survive back in the day. So he created this list to kind of be a helpful guide of things that will maximize their survivability with training, experience, and know-how. And so I'm going to kind of go ahead and list them off, and I'll put them somewhere up here so you can take a screenshot or write it down, and then I'll kind of break down examples of each after. So the first 10C is a cutting tool. Second is a combustion device. Third is a container. Fourth is cover. 5 is cordage. 6 is some type of cotton material. 7 is going to be cargo tape. 8 is going to be a cloth or clothing needle. 9 is a candling device. And 10 is going to be a compass. Alright, let's go ahead and get into it. So the first C is going to be a cutting device or cutting tool. And so naturally, kind of the most important things that you need to survive, wherever you are, is just a basic knife. And this is an SE Azula fixed blade, full tang, just basic cutting tool. And then I would also kind of throw in there also some type of saw is also a cutting device, hatchet, an axe, all good cutting tools. Alright, so the second most important thing for survival is going to be some sort of combustion device. And that's the ability to just make fire. And that's from boiling water to cooking food to protecting yourself from just wildlife. Even getting rid of mosquitoes and bugs, a good fire can do that. It can also be used for signaling and all sorts of things. And so the first tool that I'm going to go to for this is just normal Bic Lighter. They work instantly, unless you absolutely destroy it or you run out of fuel. This is the easiest way to start a fire. I like wrapping mine in duct tape, not only so I'll have more tape, and I'll kind of get into that, but it's also very flammable tinder as well. And that'll go along with combustion devices, tinder, and gathering wood and whatnot. Another option would be just regular matches. They work well too. And then kind of the most primitive thing is some sort of a ferricium device. This is just a small little scrapper and little rod. I don't always wear this, but I do always carry a small, well actually it's a lot bigger than this small guy. And that way, as long as you have some sort of 90 degree, you can spark it. That's not my go-to. It's kind of hard. It looks really cool when you can do it, but it's not something you'd want to do if you're actually trying to survive. There's also flint and steel, but also that is not something you should go to first. Alright, so the third C is going to be a container, specifically a container that you use to hold water. Now, the argument can be made that you could also store foods, soup, anything else in containers, but I'm thinking more along the lines of I need something to store water. Now, there are other types of containers as well. You have the plastic Nalgene's, you have the plastic canteens, you have camelbacks, but these are kind of the most go-to reliable for outdoor survival stuff. They're more tougher in my opinion. Plastic Nalgene's are pretty tough, I've heard, but all it takes is it cracking once and you're kind of screwed. Also, a lot of people say, hey, I want to be able to boil water, and you can boil water in these. That's not my go-to way to purify water, but it is a nice option to have. And I can talk more into just containers later, but one thing I would say is if you are only having a plastic or even an insulated type hydro flask thing, I would at least have some sort of nesting cup that would go with the bottle, so that way I could at least have the option to collect and purify water that way. Alright, so the next one is going to be some sort of cover. Now this is mainly used for shelter making, or it is your shelter, but it could also be something to help you get out of the elements if it's raining, snowing. It could be used to get out of the sun, you know, if you're just trying to get a lean-to so you get out of the harsh sun. Also, you could cover potentially like you're covering up for camouflage. So the first one I kind of think of, and it's something that's very versatile, is just kind of a poncho. You could wear it in a rainstorm. You could tie it up into like a shelter, or you could just wrap up in it if you're cold. It's a very versatile piece of gear. My kind of another example would be like an actual all-out shelter, and this is the Snug Pack Stratosphere. I kind of have it broken down. It's just kind of a bivy bag. Another good option is just a heavy-duty tarp, and then kind of any sort of tent would also be a good cover device. The next one is going to be cordage, and cordage is basically just either paracord, bank line, even steel wire could be a cordage option, but this is used to fix gear, strap things to gear, shelter making, tying a poncho to a tree or a ridge line. It could also be used to carry stuff if you want to like bundle up some firewood. Endless possibilities to cordage. Here's one example. I kind of just cut up a hair, a brush or a comb or whatever, and I strapped about 20 feet of paracord on this. That way I can hold it, unwind it. I could also use it as like a little fishing rod if I wanted to. You could also easily get bigger bundles of paracord or 550 cord. And then also one kind of slept on cordage option is bank line. And honestly, I kind of find this useful for just tying small loops and things, tying things that I don't really care about that much. I just want something to tie real fast. Bank line is another good option. Alright, so the next one is going to be some sort of cotton material. Now, this could be anything from a bandana to a schmog or even a little sniper veil. But basically, this is another one of those, it's very versatile, your kind of imagination is your limit. But I'm thinking, first off, as some sort of backup, at least for me, I always carry a bandana for swipe away, sweat or dirt or whatever I got on my face or my hands. I'm also thinking this is also a backup medical piece. If I wanted to stuff it into a wound or, wrap something real fast. There's also, you could use it to pre-filter your water. So if you think your water's questionable and you're trying to prolong the life of, I don't know, maybe a life straw or something, you could, pour water and filter it that way. It could also be used to cover your face, like I'm wearing this little balaclava or whatever, but you could use this to cover your face. A lot of people also look at this as a backup tinder source. If I really wanted to get a fire going, cotton is very flammable. Also, you could make charcoal cloth from it. There are a lot of way better dudes that can explain charcoal cloth than me. But yeah, it's a very versatile piece of gear. A sniper veil is another good option. It's a little bit bulkier than this. I always try to leave this in my kind of EDC. Like I just stuff it in my pocket. I use it all the time. But this is another piece of gear. You can use it to keep your face warm. You could dip it in water to keep your neck cool in the summertime when it gets really hot. Obviously, you can use it for more tactical reasons. The possibilities are endless. Alright, so the next one is going to be cargo tape or duct tape or gorilla tape. Basically, some type of tape. Now, I already kind of mentioned I like to have my lighters wrapped in duct tape. But I also try to carry a small thing of duct tape. They make these things called flat folds. Hopefully I can show it right here. Or you can do it yourself, honestly. But duct tape, it was one of those things you can fix anything with duct tape. I wouldn't say everything, but it's a very versatile piece of gear to have. The main things I'm thinking is clothing, gear repair. If I got a small boo-boo and I just want to wrap it up, there's that. It's also flammable. Duct tape, it's one of those things. many uses for it. Alright, so this next one's a little bit kind of not really talked about. It's something that I especially kind of struggle with. I don't really know much in that kind of realm, but that is going to be some type of cloth or clothing needle. Now, this is mainly, they gear it towards gear repair or clothing repair, shelter repair. It can also be used for suturing a wound, but basically is you want some sort of needle and then some type of thread or something that you can use to mend stuff. I try to carry floss, not only for my teeth, but also if you do get a needle, you can use this to tie up stuff you needed to. It's one of those things, I think it is important. For me, it's not that big of a deal. I think I can fix a lot of things with duct tape, and I already got cordage. But one thing I will say is suture and suture kits, or even the staple guns, those are, I wouldn't technically consider those needles or cloth needles, but I think it fits that kind of realm of, hey, I need to suture, something. It's also something that I need to work on more. But alright, so 9C is going to be some sort of candling device. Now, for me, this is actually way higher on the list than some of these other ones. It's almost higher than a cutting tool, in my opinion, just because I do a lot of stuff in the kind of nighttime, or low light, kind of evening stuff, and the ability to see in the dark is very, very important. And so naturally, a candling device was originally meant, like a candle or lantern or something like that, but I think everyone should EDC some sort of a white light, just because, like I said, being able to see in the dark is very important. Bad people like to do bad things in the dark. Yeah, and it's also like half the day, so there's that. Another good candling device would also be some sort of headlamp. I like these just because on the left side I have the option of having just a red light, so that way I won't give away my signal as well as bad. Another option could be a big actual electric lantern. But yeah, candling device. Something that I think it should be higher on the list and should actually be prioritized before some of these other ones. Alright, so the last one is going to be a compass. Now, a compass is very important for, if, not necessarily in today's world, because we have, GPS, Google Maps and all that stuff, but I like to look at it as, hey, we didn't always have that, and there could be a time where we don't have that anymore. So I think having a backup ability to know, where I'm going, even if it's as simply as, hey, I know where I live, it's just east of here. As long as I know where east is, I can get to where I'm going based on landmarks. Something as simple as that. And I try to carry this little Sunto wristwatch guy. It's one of those things that you may not use it as much now, but it could be something that you need to use. And then also, if your phone dies or something, you need some sort of way to tell, at the very least, where I'm going. And this can get a lot more complicated into kind of the land navigation side, where you're actually getting, your azimuths and you're shooting your headings and whatnot. That's something I need to work on a lot more. But yeah, a compass is something that you should definitely have a backup way to navigate. They make obviously bigger ones than this. Sunto is a great company. I would recommend any of theirs. And I would also say some type of Garmin Fortrex or Forerunner. Those would also kind of fit into the compass role. Alright, so those are all the tendencies of survivability. I hope this list helps. I hope to kind of break down some of these examples and kind of these categories in further detail. Like I said, I'm not a super expert in this. There's probably a lot better videos, but I'm just kind of trying to throw my two cents out there. I'd also like to say, just because you have these things doesn't mean you're not gonna, freaking die. You gotta know what you're doing, and some of these things are things that are kind of the last resort, in my opinion. I hope that helps. Hope you all stay safe, and God bless.